Well, I did want to say that this album was released on the exact same day as the certified double platinum album Make Yourself by Incubus, featuring the hit singles Drive and Pardon Me.
What are we talking about Lawrence Arms for?
Dylan's favorite band, Incubus.
You know what really makes us mad? Is wasting money on CDs with only one or two good songs.
Yeah. Tell them about punk.
What's up, posers? Welcome to Punk Lotta Pod, the game where no one wins. I'm your co-host, Justin Hensley. Just a quick heads up. We had some technical difficulties while recording this episode, so the very beginning of the episode did not record like it was supposed to. So, you didn't really miss anything. All we did were the intros. So, for this episode, it is me and Dylan, as usual, as well as our good friend Cory. And this week we're discussing the year 1999, and the episode picks up right at the beginning of the charts. So we'll be talking about American football's self-titled release for 1999. Other than that, hope you enjoy the rest of the episode.
Punk charts, but American football, that's a good album.
You know, I'm not surprised, primarily because people love that record, but I almost think non-punks like that record more. And that's probably why it's number one.
Oh man, this top five, this is like pure internet music nerd. Like,
like revisionist.
I mean, there's some great stuff on here, but it's definitely the stuff that you listen to because everyone has said like it's so good, and you're like it's fine.
Orchid Chaos Is Me is not the third best album of 1999.
No, it's a good record, but
what a weird. Yeah, it's fine. But it's still an Orchid record, and nobody listens to Orchid anymore.
Yeah, we're not Tumblr in the year 2006. So like, I don't know that Orchid should be this highly rated still.
I mean, on this list, I see keeping it comparable to Orchid. That Combat Wounded Veteran is a better record.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and when I say this is a big year too, not even necessarily like a personally big year. Like on this first page, there's some stuff I like on here, but I mean in the top 10 at least, no like huge records for me. But these are a lot of like career-defining records for some of these bands. Jimmy Eat World, Clarity at number 4, number 5, Calculating Infinity, Dillinger Escape Plan. That's the only Choking Victim album, I think.
Is it?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that Jimmy Eat World debate. You know, there's always that debate of Clarity or Bleed American. Where do you fall, Cory?
I fall in having heard maybe 2 Jimmy Eat World songs in my entire life. I just know that that's a big album, but I've never heard it.
Oh, okay.
I didn't really dig them.
I personally like Bleed American better than Clarity. I don't know. It's like the internet snarky take is to always say Clarity is the best record, but I do think it's Bleed American between the two. But
it's very apples and oranges, though.
True.
Because those two records they could have very easily been done by different bands.
Yeah. Apples and oranges.
It takes a little further down the chart for me to find anything that I actively listened to. And again, these were bands I probably found a little bit later than 1999. Not much later, but a little bit later.
I mean, my favorite band in 1999 was Audio Adrenaline. So.
How old were you in 99, Dylan?
I was 9.
Okay.
I turned 9 in June, so.
Yeah.
So I was, I was born in 86, so that'd be, 13? 14?
Yeah, because I would have been 14, I'm 85.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I would have been 13, yeah. And 13-year-old me, I know. Let's take a look. I have this pulled up right now. Let's take a look at the Billboard chart for the week of October 26, 1999. And the number one song is Bush's The Chemicals Between Us.
Oh.
And then it's followed by Creed's Higher.
Oh, yeah.
So looking at this list, I was probably into... Was POD a thing yet in 99?
No, you wouldn't have been listening to POD because that was like 2001, honestly, when Satellite came out.
Oh, I would have been listening to The Offspring and Smash Mouth.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
All Star is on this chart, so it's I was still listening to the radio primarily.
I would have been playing a bunch of Tony Hawk Pro Skater and pausing and restarting the music track to listen to Guerrilla Radio over and over again. I was kind of in a weird spot here where like I got into punk really young, and I got into pretty good punk, I think, really young, and then got more into radio music. So yeah, like all of these songs on the Billboard charts, at least. I remember the local like alternative rock station in Ottawa they had the top 10 at 10 segment every night, and this was probably around the time where I was allowed to stay up later. And I remember trying to stay up till 11 every night to hear what number one would be, and Higher by Creed being pretty up there pretty often.
Man, this list is, oh my God, it's the most 1999. I mean,
it really
just got like Offspring, Chili Peppers,
Cowboy by Kid Rock.
Yeah.
I've been wondering lately about that Chili Peppers song. Probably because I spend a lot of time watching Chili Peppers videos. Would that song be good if Anthony Kiedis was not in the Red Hot Chili Peppers? I think it might be good.
You think Kiedis is the worst part of the Chili Peppers?
Yes. Yeah.
I've just literally never thought about that. I mean,
if you just put a good singer in this band.
Sorry, what was that, Dylan?
If you just put a good singer in this band, they'd be the best band in the world.
Okay, I don't want to derail this, but I did come across a video recently. I don't know what it's for, but it's the Chili Peppers playing to an audience of like 8-year-olds at a school. Like it looks like one of those contests where the prize was the Chili Peppers come and play at your school, and they all look just so profoundly bored.
The members of the band or the children?
Oh, the children. Because it's 2019 and they don't know who the Red Hot Chili Peppers are.
Right. What children in 2019 are listening to the Red Hot Chili Peppers? It was
maybe at a high school, but it's an elementary school. It's such a bizarre video.
I don't think even a high school would appreciate it. I mean, they would maybe be just excited because it's a band, but they would be like, what is this corny funk rock?
Red Hot Chili Peppers are old enough to be a band that like high schoolers listen to now the way high schoolers when we were kids, when we were teenagers, listened to like classic rock. I mean, Red Hot Chili Peppers are essentially a classic rock band now.
I mean,
side thought.
Just like by technical definition.
Let's go back to
I knew a like 19-year-old Mormon girl who I worked with who listened to the Red Hot Chili Peppers and had seen them in concert like within the last few years or so.
Wow.
Now she was Mormon, so she was probably very limited in what she could listen to.
But the Red Hot Chili Peppers are it?
They made the cut?
Yeah.
They've got some like gross descriptions of bodily functions in their songs.
But probably mostly on the basis of being on the radio. Like, it's on the radio, it's got to be fine.
My YouTube algorithms are just horrific lately. And it's a mismatch. It's just a mishmash of Chili Peppers and Tool videos, along with like just family parodies. It's just terrible.
Speaking of Tool
sucks.
Well, Keenan James Maynard lives in Arizona. He owns a winery actually in Arizona, which, man, a winery in Arizona, what a bad idea.
Is it raisin wine?
It's really not known for its wine, but they have like a tasting room in one of the towns in Arizona that I went to recently. So in Jerome, Arizona, we walked into this like bookstore, coffee shop, like just one of those kind of catch-all stores, and they had so much Tool and like Jucifer and related bands like posters on the wall and merchandise, and I'm like, what Who is that into Tool? Terrible, man.
Why
They're on Spotify now, though.
Yeah, well,
Let's stop talking about Tool.
yeah, I don't want to talk about an abuser like that. So,
Let's go back to the list.
Yeah, we got distracted easily.
My fault. I'm sorry. Page 2 gets pretty good though.
I mean, well, on this page 1, there's a couple things I really, 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 really love. Cave-ins Until Your Heart Stops. That's like the last heavy like metalcore record.
That's the one before Jupiter.
Yeah, I love that record. Hot Water Music's No Division is the last great Hot Water Music record. Is that accurate?
I would say so, yeah.
Oh, Flight in a Crash. Flight in a Crash came out in 2001, but that's the last one. And Catharsis Passion is number 11. I'm actually shocked at how highly rated that record is, because I don't know a ton of people who actually listen to Catharsis, but they're North Carolina's own.
I don't know anyone outside of North Carolina who listens to Catharsis.
Yeah, yeah.
So that is really weird to me, but...
Oh, shit, there's a lot on this front page. Zayo's Liberate to Exit Ferris. That's my favorite Zayo record. One of my favorite bands of all time. And Get Up Kids, Something to Write Home About. The only good Get Up Kids record.
See, this is a big list.
Yeah. I mean, good lord, even further, Through Being Cool saves the day.
Yeah, probably the best Saves the Day record.
Yeah. AFI, when they were still a punk band.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big one.
Yep.
Mission Control, Burning Airlines.
Shit. Coalesce 012. That's my favorite Coalesce.
Yeah, this
I'm
is
really surprised
huge year.
I'm really surprised that Enema of the State is not ranked higher on this list.
Is it though?
I think they're popular enough that there are like metalheads who don't like punk at all who have listened to it and then like rate it really poorly.
That's possible. It's not a great album. I don't think that it's Blink-182's best album.
I don't think it should be on the front page. It's a notable record.
It is a notable record.
I mean, it's on the basis of its popularity alone, I guess, is what makes it.
Yeah,
because it's got What's My Age Again and Adam's Song and all the small things and
it's got arguably their biggest tracks.
Yeah. You said the second page is where you start seeing stuff.
Yeah, second page is where I start seeing stuff. You've got Common Rider in at number 44, the first Common Rider full length.
Is that Jesse Michaels?
Yeah, Jesse Michaels from Operation Ivy.
Yeah.
I was probably listening to that in 1999. I think I probably heard that around then. My friend and I were definitely getting into Dropkick Murphys at this point. The Gangs All Here wasn't my favorite album, but it had a couple good songs on it. That Small Brown Bike album at number 52 is something I came to later. Definitely not into Small Brown Bike in 99, but
yeah.
There's Choose Bronze, Casket Watery. That's a great one too.
Yeah, you got The Promise Ring, Very Emergency, their biggest record.
American Steel, Rogues March, which is it's considered one of their best records, right? I'm personally am more partial to the later stuff, but
we'll talk about this later. But this was a pretty good Hellcat year too.
Yeah,
you got Tiger Army in at number 67. I think I saw a bunch of stuff on page 3 too that I was really into.
Well, let's look over there, see what there is.
Let's see. Off of page 2, though, I do want to point out Parasitic Skies by The Swarm.
Oh, yeah.
That is a monster of a record. If it weren't for Venetian Blinds, it'd be Curtains for Us by Piebald. Not my favorite Piebald, but a good one. But yeah, let's take a look at page 3, because there was so much on page 2. There's still got to be a lot of great stuff on page 3.
Yeah, it doesn't get bad.
Yeah, Newfound Glory's Nothing Gold Can Stay. That's is that the first full length by Newfound Glory?
I think so.
It's definitely the one that like inspired Easycore a decade later.
Yeah, for sure. This isn't my favorite Adam and His Package album, but Making Love has some of his best songs on it. Some of his most popular songs for sure.
What's on that one?
The song that I emailed him about, Lord, It's Hard to Be Happy When You're Not Using the Metric System. Hats Off to Halford.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I see a big one for you and I, Justin.
Where at?
Number 98 on the list. A Thought Crushed My Mind by Blindside.
Yeah, that's probably...
That was a big gateway into hardcore.
For sure. The song King of the Closet was on a This Is Solid State Volume 2 compilation. And when I first got it, the it was the only song I liked on there. Because it was just full of like metal and hardcore, and I was brand new to that. Like I had barely heard anything like that at that point, so I had to grow into liking a lot of that kind of stuff. But yeah, that Blindside song was the one that jumped out the most to me. And that's probably their. Well, it's not their best record. I do like the more melodic stuff they did after, but
Yeah.
it was definitely in the top 3 for sure.
You've got one of my favorite albums in it, number 108, Discount's Half Fiction. I think that's an almost perfect album from start to finish.
I was going to say that should be way higher.
It really should.
That is a great record.
Clap and Cough is one of my favorite punk songs of all time.
The Muffs are excellent. I think they've gotten a little bit of... I don't know if they were super popular back then, but I feel like they've almost retroactively gained some more critical acclaim. I've personally discovered that I like them a lot.
Yeah, this was a great year.
Yeah. We were talking beforehand. We can go through every page and I can find an album to talk about. There's something about this time period that there's a lot of music, like a ton of music, but not so much that you're going to just run into stuff you've never, ever, 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 ever heard of.
Yeah.
Later years with the internet.
But a lot of these bands, too, these albums that are coming out are their signature albums. Either the ones that put them on the map or the ones that like really solidified them as a great band. Yeah, I don't know what was going on in 1999.
I'd say there's probably like a window between 95 and 2005. Like that may be for underground music, punk associated and adjacent music, probably the most important 10 years.
Yeah. And I wonder too if there's maybe like a larger like generational trend that there were just a lot of people at the right age in the right economic situation to be able to make all of this music.
Yeah, and then I guess this is an era when recording is getting cheaper, but not to the point where it's so dirt cheap that literally anyone could put anything out.
Well, and this is a point where everything is still being handled by major distributors.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no internet distribution for music in 1999, so everything here is something that was gate-kept to a degree.
So it might increase the density of quality, or I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. Like I feel like I could go through this entire list and just find something to talk about, but we should probably get into our albums.
Yeah, let's do it.
So for this week, we've got number 114 on the album charts, and it is the Lawrence Arms and their album A Guided Tour of Chicago. Some basics out of the way. Lawrence Arms are from Chicago, Illinois. They formed in 1999. This was released on Asian Man Records, October 26th, 1999. And this is the very first anything by the Lawrence Arms. The personnel on this record is Brendan Kelly on bass and vocals, Chris McCon, is that the right way to pronounce that?
Yeah, I think so.
McCon on guitar and vocals, and Neil Hennessy on drums. And all three of those members have been in the band the entirety of the time. So we're going on, 12 20 years of them. So Brendan and Chris were both in the Broadways together. Brendan was also in Slapstick and The Falcon, which Neil also played with. Neil also, this is such a huge branching tree. Neil was in the bands Colossal and Smoking Popes. And Chris and Brendan also have solo projects as well. Sundowner and Brendan Kelly and the Wandering Birds. It was recorded in one day at Scientific Records by Mike Giampa and Andy83. I guess I don't know, that's his punk name. And this album was never properly mixed, so because the band ran out of money. So, all of that being said, formed in 1999, released in 1999. This is the very first thing they put out, not mixed, recorded in one day. It's actually amazing. This record sounds as good as it does. What did everybody think of it?
You want to go first, Dylan?
I have listened to this record before, and I want to say it left a better impression on me previously. I didn't enjoy it as much listening to it this time. I think it starts off really weak.
With an intro?
First couple tracks are not great, and so it takes a moment for me to really get into it.
Interesting. I have the opposite take, and I think that it starts great and kind of weakens around the middle. Cory, what do you think?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of uneven.
Mhm.
I don't really have a start strong and weak take on it. I think it's a little bit uneven. It's their first effort. Some of the songs sound like those first songs that you write with your first band or a band when you're first getting together.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. That's what these are. I think there's some decent to good songs scattered throughout and some songs that just kind of pass you by.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything bad on it. It's not my favorite Lawrence Arms record, and I like the Lawrence Arms a lot. It's not one that I listen to a ton because I just think they have way better material.
I mean, yeah, I definitely agree. I remember a while when I first heard this album, I think I got this and Ghost Stories and Agony and
Apathy and Exhaustion?
Apathy and Exhaustion like at the same time on an MP3 CD.
Okay.
That Grant gave me. So like I had like the first three records all at once to listen to, and this was my least favorite of the three. And the thing that always stood out to me is how weird it sounded as far as the recording. And I didn't know that at the time, but the fact that it wasn't properly mixed really explains why the guitars sound as weird as they do. Like it feels almost like they're coming out of like one channel or like on a speaker, even though that's not true, but it feels lopsided.
Yeah, but think about other bands from that era or other bands that like maybe just immediately preceded them. Like think about the bands that they were influenced by at the time. Bands like Jawbreaker and 15 and Crimpshrine. All those bands have a pretty similar guitar tone, I think. And, you know, kind of like I don't know what the word is to describe like the tempo, but there's a like a weird bounciness, almost like a funkiness to punk at this time that only works for very specific bands.
Yeah.
I lost my point there.
Yeah.
It makes
Like
sense
the
to me that this
Boxcar.
album was released in 1999.
Yeah.
Shirts and running teeth. He's the guy who wakes out underneath the overpass, shouting curse words and passing motorists. For the guy who passed out in my alley who drank until his life made any sense. He's the hustler on the train, always for a count his hairs, living on streets and playing cards, sleight of hand.
It is strange though. Like they recorded it in one day. That seems weird. the thing that weirds me out is like, why did they try and do it so fast? I mean, I guess they ran out of money, but like the Broadways broke up, and then they immediately start this band.
Yep.
And don't even put out any demos or singles or EPs or anything before this record.
That's the weird thing. It seems like they could have easily just picked the best songs and recorded like a single, just an EP, and spent a little more time on them. Like you could have ended up with maybe a better sounding product in one day if that was your budget.
Yeah.
They famously did not release an EP on their own, at least until 2009.
Yeah, but Sweat and Beers.
That's an incredible 7-inch.
I did read some articles that were saying that Brendan Kelly says this is his least favorite album because it doesn't represent the band, which I totally get, because Lawrence Arms are kind of famous for having two singers, and on this record, Chris really only sings one song.
Yeah, and a little bit of backup here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say that's one of the best songs on the record as well.
Yeah, and for a first effort too, especially when you look at what came after, it's only three pretty short years to Apathy and Exhaustion.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is still my favorite Lawrence Arms album.
That's my favorite too.
I think that like the sound that they were evolving from their time in the Broadways and then into the early Lawrence Arms material, I think like really, really hit their stride on Apathy and Exhaustion in a way that they continued on The Greatest Story Ever Told, but just personally works the best for me on Apathy and Exhaustion.
Yeah, those are my two favorite. Apathy and Exhaustion, Greatest Story Ever Told. To be honest, I haven't listened to much beyond that. I listened to Metropole a little bit, and it was fine. I mean, it was a good record, but it wasn't like my favorite thing. And I don't think I ever listened to O Calcutta all the way through. I've heard tracks.
That's wild to me, because O Calcutta it's a real toss-up to me between O Calcutta and Apathy and Exhaustion. They're just such different records.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. You should spend some time with O Calcutta.
I've heard tracks from it. I don't think I've ever listened to the entire record all the way through.
That's weird, because that's the one I know the best.
Yeah, I think that's probably their best-known album.
It's probably their most famous. Well, actually, I did write down a couple things about their albums here. So, looking at the Rate Your Music charts for the Lawrence Arms as a whole, this record is their lowest rated. It's got a 3.07 with 104 ratings. The next highest rated album is Metropole from 2014 with a 3.23, which, it kind of follows that thing that a lot of bands happen with, like their earliest and their newest material tends to be closely regarded. It's like for a band who has a big discography, and then like the middle period's always like the fan favorite stuff. But the highest rated album is Greatest Story Ever Told with a 3.70. But I do think that O Calcutta was the most reviewed and rated album on Rate Your Music, which I don't have that number here, but
yeah, well, O Calcutta is when they really started to do Chris and Brendan singing together. That was something kind of new for them, and I don't know, it works really well instead of having separate Brendan and Chris songs.
Yeah, and plus Chris has Sundowner, so like that kind of gets his like solo songwriting itch out of the way. So to distinguish those songs from Lawrence Arms songs, you would want to do something different. So the most different thing they could do would be to actually like sing together. So
yeah.
Sleepy and awake. Leave the eyes overrated.
I'm pretty terrible about paying attention to lyrics in songs, but I did notice quite a few lines on this album. Like they jumped out at me as something to note. Normally, like I said, I hear the music and I don't like pay attention to exactly what the words are. But
in a good way, or in a way that made you cringe?
No, it was definitely in a good way. It's just
Okay.
like, yeah, I don't know. It's a line will stand out in the song more so than a lot of other bands that I listen to, and which I appreciated about this record. I do think the middle of the album winds up sounding kind of samey. So, like, I don't know. But with the exception of the ones with Chris singing, they do sound very much alike, which is kind of how I feel about Lawrence Arms in general sometimes. I think they have, like, a tendency to have just, like, samey sounding songs, but not in a negative way, though. Like, it's a sound that I like, you know?
Yep.
Like, you'd say Iron Chic, a majority of their songs sound the same, but I love that sound, so I'm fine with it, you know? So
Yeah. Just looking at all the Lawrence Arms offshoots, did you guys ever listen to that any of those Colossal records?
yeah, I listened to...
Did you do a Colossal episode?
No, we did Coliseum.
Okay.
Yeah, I listened to the full length they had before. It's a good record. It's definitely very different. It doesn't sound anything like Lawrence Arms, really.
Yeah, and I don't think it got the recognition it maybe deserved. Asian Man put out, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so I saw the Lawrence Arms, Colossal, None More Black, and I think Fifth Hour Hero in Ottawa. Probably I think the Lawrence Arms probably would have been touring for Apathy and Exhaustion, so probably around 2002, 2003.
Wow. And
I mean, Colossal just like blew me away that night. The whole show that's a stacked lineup. I remember it was like $6.
Oh, that's funny though that you have Jason Shevchuk and Brendan Kelly on the same show too. They both have similar, distinct voices. It's like an almost nasally but grainy voice.
Yeah,
I would like to hear them do a duet. I don't know. Throw the Steinways guy in there too, and then.
Oh, I just looked it up. It was August 11th, 2003.
Oh wow! You were able to find the exact flyer for it, or just the listing?
No, I found a Punk News listing, and I'm wrong. It was double the price. It was $12.
Well,
I think it might have been Against Me that I saw for $6 around the same time.
yeah. Who else was in Colossal? Is that?
So I think that Neil is only in Colossal now that they've reunited.
Oh, okay.
I don't know any of the other guys what they've been in.
I don't know. This looks like he's always been in it. As far as I don't see any other drummers listed, but I don't know. I could be wrong.
Rob Kellenberger
What is he from?
was, I guess, the previous drummer.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Why do I know that name? Oh, he was the drummer in Tuesday. That's why I know that name.
Ah,
A band you've already covered.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on this actual album?
Well, I did want to say that this album was released on the exact same day as the certified double platinum album Make Yourself by Incubus, featuring the hit singles Drive and Pardon Me.
what are we talking about Lawrence Arms for?
Dylan's favorite band, Incubus.
I was going through and like looking at, like, I was trying to find reviews from around the same time that this album came out.
Yep.
And it was very difficult to find anything. Most of the reviews I found were around 2001. I guess once everybody got into Lawrence Arms later. But the only thing I could really find was like some like old issues of CMJ magazine that like had them some local, because they'd like list college radio plays, like what bands that they play on these college radio stations. And like they were listed on like 2 different radio stations had played them like the week this record came out. But like I found no reviews. But it was just funny to see like the other albums that came out around the same time.
I was going to say, all of their reviews would have been saying, yeah, it's pretty good, but it's no Make Yourself by Incubus.
I told you,
You have
guys,
money to spend on
huge
one
year.
album this week.
I listen to the
right, Cory, what do you got for us?
I don't have a lot today.
Ah.
I'm a little disappointed in myself.
Well, that's less
Actually,
editing
I'm
for
a
me
little
to do.
disappointed in the internet.
Do better, internet.
I'm a little disappointed in the internet for not coming through. I don't have any base covers. All I have are tattoos. So we'll start with tattoo 1. And there are a lot of Lawrence Arms tattoos.
Yeah, I was gonna say Lawrence Arms that's a tattoo band.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they've got that Chicago Lawrence Arms logo. They got the bat wings on the hourglass.
Yeah, I mean that's a band that people regularly propose to their significant others on stage during their performances. Like that's Lawrence Arms' life.
So this first tattoo
is a reference to a line in The Slowest Drink at the Saddest Bar on the Snowiest Day in the Greatest City.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a gravestone. It says, "He had it all."
Mm-hmm.
And the line is, "What will it say on my snow-covered grave?" But these look like bubbles.
I was wondering why you pointed it out. Yeah, they do.
These look more like bubbles on a horseshoe rather than snow on a grave. And also, why are there leaves sprouting up through the snow? Chicago is a very snowy city.
Mm-hmm.
There would not be roses poking out of the earth.
Well, someone put the rose there. That one I understand. But those definitely look like...
Why would you stick a rose in the snow in front of a grave?
Because he had it all.
But, okay, but what about the leaves poking up beside and behind?
Yeah, those definitely look like agave.
Aloe plants.
Yeah, just like succulents planted on his grave.
But would those not be covered by a snowy Chicago winter?
Maybe it just started snowing.
But it's covered. My snow-covered grave.
You took a tattoo that I thought was fine at first, and
you ruined it.
Ruined it. I was gonna say, hey, this is actually a good tattoo that you're showing us, Cory, rather than the horrible ones you normally bring.
Okay, number 2. I think you're gonna have to click on this one to make it bigger.
Ooh, boy. So it's what I mentioned before, the Chicago flag with the Lawrence Arms logo in there.
Yep.
It looks more like a pillowcase than a flag.
And it looks like the tattooer was wasted when they were doing the lettering.
Or the person was moving around too much.
Ow,
Yeah.
ow, ow, ow.
It looks like a beach towel, just like kind of thrown out. It doesn't look like a waving flag. It's not a very consistent wave. And then the lettering tried to follow the wave, but the wave of the flag isn't consistent with the wave of the lettering.
It says above, "I've got 100 resolutions," and below, "but I've got no solutions." But the first "I've" looks like it says "R." Solutions is almost illegible.
Yeah, I could barely read what it was saying.
This is on a fan site's gallery. There are a lot of them. I've only got one more for the Lawrence Arms. All right, number 3. I can't remember which one this is. Oh yeah,
Classic text.
classic text. Just takes up a lot of space.
It's when you want a tattoo, but you don't really have any ideas. So it's a tattoo that says, "They say you really died the last time anybody says your name." And just kind of like what? Basic career font.
Yeah, I thought this was kind of funny for a couple reasons. I thought it was funny because it was from a line on a Metropole song, and not a very good Metropole song either. It's from the YMCA down the street from the clinic. And also, I found some Reddit comments about how inspiring this quote was from Brendan Kelly, but it's kind of it's also been attributed to Banksy. It's been attributed to, I don't know who David M. Eagleman is, but it's been attributed to him. So not a BK original, but
Burger King?
Yeah. That's right.
Maybe Brendan Kelly is Banksy.
Holy shit. We know he's Nihilist Arby's.
He just blew up his spot.
Didn't he do an interview about it?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, this
Because
line
he
is
lost all his tweets, wasn't he? Wasn't he suspended and then lost all his tweets, or it was hacked and lost all his tweets?
I don't know.
All right, that's all I got for tattoos today.
I want to say I think Brendan Kelly is a pretty good lyricist.
Mhm.
This
Oh, I agree.
line though is very not as profound as it sounds like it should be. It's
This
like
is the Banksy line.
it's like, well, it's
That
always
actually-
the last place you look. Like, well, no shit.
You said it's a Banksy line, and Dylan saying it's not profound. It's like, oh yeah, that actually makes perfect sense for Banksy. He thinks he's saying something, but he's not really saying anything that a high school freshman didn't come up with in their art class.
All right, what do we rate this album?
I give it a 3.25. I like the first 4 songs the most on the record, and I really like the songs with Chris towards the middle and end. It's not my favorite. Like, I would probably put some of the other albums in the 4-point range or higher, and but it's definitely, like, with all the things we know about it, not properly mixed, recorded in a day. I get why it sounds the way it does. I just wish they would have taken a little bit more time and maybe, edited it down a little bit to maybe a solid EP or a single. But
Well, yeah. I mean, giving themselves a little more time to write some more songs and really work on some of them, work on what they had instead of just immediately booking studio time, and
yeah,
they could have saved some money. I'm really curious what the time crunch was, like why they just went ahead and did it.
I think it was probably just being young and poor.
Yeah.
Well, I did want to also mention that Chris played guitar in the Broadways, but there was also a second guitarist in that band. So this may have also been the first time he was on a record where he played all the guitars himself. So that could be another factor in why it sounds a little bit the way it does.
And they would have had very little time for overdubbing. So
Yeah. It's not mixed. So yeah. What would you rate it?
I'm going to give it a 3.5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think
you're-
it's a good start for the band. I like other albums better.
Mhm.
Overall, I like the sound. There's just a couple songs. I didn't dislike any songs. Some of them passed me by.
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I would give it a 3. If this was my first introduction to the Lawrence Arms, it's not like it's bad and would make me not want to keep listening to them.
Yeah.
But it's not one I really feel like revisiting other than maybe a few songs. So,
All right. So, moving on to our EP, we got number 121 on the EP charts, and it is The Distillers and their self-titled EP, The Distillers.
This is a story about several women, LA women, on LA Mason. This is a glory, gonna get their hooks in, gonna drag you way down, yeah, you wanna go home soon. You got almighty, what the fuck happened to you? I'm not red, white, and blue. Out of my heart, I say, every day and all night, watch your pale ass on the street, watch you walk on through. Then you wear glasses, song of tragedy, lyrics of city, a new beginning. Power and glory in the name of the enemy. Now you rest the cash you'll take for power and glory. Dear God Almighty, what the fuck happened to you? I'm not red, white, and blue. Out of my heart, I say, every day and all night, watch your pale ass on the street, watch you walk on through. Hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, yeah.
Alternately known as the Old Scratch Plus 3 7-inch. I'm not sure who calls it that, but it's listed that way on Discogs. They are from Los Angeles, California. They formed in 1998. This was released on Hellcat Records, and the personnel on this record is Brody Dale on guitar and vocals, Rose Casper Mazzola on guitar, Kim Ayla, aka Kim Chi, aka Kim Fullerman on bass and vocals, and Matt Young on drums. Kim and Matt would leave the band by the end of the year to join Exene Cervenka's band. And this was recorded, mixed, and engineered by Thomas Johnson and Tim Armstrong from the band Rancid, and Brody's husband at the time.
Oh.
So, you didn't know that?
I didn't.
Did you really not know that?
No.
I did not know that either until I was researching this episode. And I thought maybe I was being dumb, but okay, maybe if unless you were paying attention to Rancid or the Distillers at the time, you probably wouldn't know that.
I was almost exclusively paying attention to Rancid and the Distillers at the time.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, in early 2000s message board culture, particularly if you posted on the Rancid and Distillers message board, as I did, that was everyone had a take.
Yeah, I was reading about that. Apparently, it was a very messy public divorce.
Yeah.
Where, like, people, like, Rancid fans are sending death threats. And
Yeah, I think that everybody on that side sucked. I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about her personal life and their
Right.
troubles at the time, because I actually think that overshadows the songs.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I'm guessing I can guess both of your opinions, but I think these songs are great. I still think the Distillers are awesome. These songs were re-recorded eventually for the first album,
yeah.
but you know, even in this form, I think these songs are good to great.
So you said you think you know how we're gonna feel about this. What do you think we're gonna say?
I think that Justin, I think you probably liked it okay, but I think you'll never listen to it again. Dylan, I think you hate it.
Well, you got mine right.
Dylan?
I didn't enjoy it.
Why
I
do we
wouldn't
even
say
need to?
hate it. When you
Why do
said
we-
good to great, I was thinking more like okay to decent.
I mean, it's going to be really hard for me to separate the nostalgia, but before earlier this year, it had been a long time since I listened to these songs in any of their discography. And I in my fandom for the band, I fell off after their second full length. I didn't like the album they put out on Warner, that I think became kind of the swan song for the band. And it was a record that like really, really broadened their fan base. People really love that album. It still sells for hundreds on Discogs.
It's their best reviewed album, I believe. Coral Fang, yeah, has a 3.45, and it's got like 900 ratings.
Yeah, I think there's some good songs on it, but at that time when it came out, it wasn't what I wanted to listen to. I liked their earlier stuff, but just going back to it this year, I still love these songs. And
Well-
I don't think it's in a nostalgic way only.
Well, so yeah, I guess I'll say what I really think. You're right. I do like these songs. I think they're good songs. The first song, Old Scratch, is just so short that it doesn't really stand out too much for me. But I genuinely really love the song LA Girl, which is the second track. I would say, though, you're right, I probably wouldn't listen to it again because they were re-recorded and included on the full length. So, I mean, if you really... To me, this EP feels like a For Diehards EP. So it's like if you love that first Distillers full length and you just are curious to hear what the earlier versions sound like, this EP is for you. But otherwise, I would just say skip the EP and just go straight to the album.
Yeah, I agree. And on the album too, I'm glad these songs are on the album, but there are better songs on the album. Except for LA Girl. I think LA Girl is one of their best songs in their catalog. It was definitely the first Distillers song I ever heard. It would have been, I think it was track 1 on Given the Boot 2. I mean, that song is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely my favorite track on here. And then I probably would put the last track, Blackheart, as maybe my second favorite song.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think that song's okay. It's not a song that I ever loved. I like the Distillers the best when they have like a really good balance of melody and aggression. And for me, Blackheart is like more or less just like straight ahead aggression.
Yeah, I wrote down that it had a little bit of a Nirvana influence in her delivery. I don't know if that's fully accurate. That's just my first take of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, but there is an element of there's a little bit of Joan Jett in there, kind of thrown in with the Rancid sound, which makes sense. They're on Hellcat, and maybe even a hint of Courtney Love on her.
Yeah, you would have heard a
delivery.
lot of Courtney Love comparisons back in '99 in the early 2000s.
She's got a very raw voice. She's probably a better singer than Courtney Love is, but yeah, there are a lot of similarities. And then,
Yeah, if you watch reunion videos from this 2019 tour that they just did, I'm glad that they're not just doing a reunion tour. I'm glad that they're going to be putting out some new music at some point. I mean, the band still sounds like super tight. Her vocals sound awesome.
Yeah. Did she play in another band before the Distillers got back together?
Yeah, she had a solo project, and she was in a band with I can't remember if it's the bassist or the guitarist from the Distillers, one of their later members, but they were in a band, Spinneret.
What is her solo stuff like? Is it the same type of stuff, or is it?
It was released during the period where I wasn't really paying much attention to her and the other members of the band, so I don't know.
Yeah, the other band's called Spinneret, and
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with them, but it is one of the members of the Distillers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a band that I think of positively. They're not a band I don't know if I've ever listened to any of their albums all the way through, but I remember seeing what is City of Angels, the music video.
Yep.
I remember seeing that on like MTV or MTV2 or one of those channels. And does she do guest vocals on a Transplant song as well?
Well, yeah.
I think that may have been the first thing I saw her in, actually. And then maybe the City of Angels video was probably what I saw next. But yeah, they're a band that I like, but I'm not super familiar with.
Yeah, they're a band that I don't know. They're not a band that I think of negatively, even though I didn't really care for this EP. It really just struck me more as, I don't know, not my flavor of punk, more than like I don't think that it was bad necessarily, just not something that I enjoy.
Well, it's definitely the Hellcat sound.
Right.
Like,
which I don't love.
Yeah, especially this period of Hellcat.
Yeah, I definitely prefer the more like ska stuff that they tend to put out.
Yeah, I was looking back over the track listings for the Given the Boot releases, and those are some great comps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really like diverse artistry on there. That would have been, well, we talked about this 2 weeks ago, but that would have been probably one of my earliest introductions to Joe Strummer through Joe Strummer and the Mescaleros.
That's true. Was Hellcat the label for Joe Strummer and the Mescaleros, or was that just like U.S. distribution?
I don't know about worldwide, but in the U.S., Hellcat put them out. I think all three of the LPs.
The first album came out on Mercury Records in the U.K., but then the rest look like they're all exclusively Hellcat. So
Okay.
that totally makes sense, especially for Tim Armstrong and Rancid. You know, they're hugely inspired by the Clash. So
Yeah, it looks like the CD was released by Hellcat in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, the Distillers.
Yeah, I know. It's so. I don't want to talk about Rancid and Tim Armstrong specifically, but it's so hard to because they were very intertwined with this band. So
Yeah, I don't think you can separate them from the story. I don't want to be reductive about the songs and her specifically as an artist, because I think that the songs stand on their own outside of the myths that the myths and rumors and half truths and stories that exist around that period in her life.
I mean, I would rather listen to these 3 Distillers records than a majority of Rance's discography. So I'll give Out Come the Wolves, but I'd rather listen to the rest of the Distillers stuff for that.
Yeah, I would probably agree. If you gave me the choice of the last Distillers record versus the last Rancid record, I'll take the Distillers.
In that case, I actually might take the Rancid record because it's not bad. But if it was the first or second Distillers record, I'd probably go Distillers.
Rancid have one good album.
False. Anything else to say about the music?
I did mention the Joan Jett thing. I don't know how much of an influence Joan Jett was, but to me, she seems like she was a huge influence on Brody in the way she dresses and styles her hair and almost her vocal delivery. Like there's a lot of Joan Jett there, which is cool. I think more people should be influenced by Joan Jett. So, but with like more of an updated late 90s, early 2000s sound, because I'm sure Joan Jett wasn't doing much around that time. That's super notable.
Yeah.
I like it. Even musically, it has a little bit of a throwback quality. Like, it doesn't quite sound like something from 1999. I mean, it has a little bit of a 70s vibe to it, which is, unique, especially.
This isn't on the EP, but on the first full length, they do a Patti Smith cover.
Yeah, that's right. Ask the Angels. Yeah.
It's a great cover.
It is. Yeah, I listened to that today as well. I didn't realize she was from Australia.
They met. She and Tim met in Australia at a festival, and then she moved to the U.S. and they got married when she was, I think, 18.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Did she have any music prior to the Distillers?
Yeah, so they met when she was playing in a band. I want to say her band was called Sourpuss.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's how she and Tim met. They were playing at the same festival in Australia.
Is that in the same vein, or is it something completely different?
I don't know if they ever put anything out. I haven't heard them if they did.
I'd be curious to hear what if this was just a natural extension of the sound she was doing before.
Yeah.
Or if it's something different.
Yeah, I don't know if they're. I don't think there's anything released. I'm sorry about the cat. She's so loud.
She has opinions too.
She does. I'm just going to try and get her to go downstairs. There is a Sourpuss listing on Discogs. There's a 7-inch. And you know what? That 7-inch is not as expensive as I thought it would be.
It must have had a wide, like a big pressing then. Oh,
and then there's an EP, a 3-song EP that has sold once for $360. Wow.
I was going to look and see if they were on YouTube, and they are, it looks like.
You can listen to that later.
Yeah. The little bit I'm just sampling right here in my headphones, it looks like it's seems like a little more melodic, but not that far off from what the Distillers were doing. So that's
cool.
Probably due to her vocal style. So
yeah,
that's
I'll
cool.
check it out later.
Yeah. Well, you teased it. What do you have for us today?
Again, I whittled down, but I've got some tattoos and I've got some covers. Tattoo number 1. I was amazed at the number of Distillers tattoos.
Yeah, I mean, do they have a distinct visual thing? I mean, I guess that
you'll see in tattoo number 1.
Oh boy,
that this is a very popular image. This side profile of Brody with a full mohawk.
Is that from something?
Yeah, it was a picture of the band, and then this lyric, "All my friends are murderers," is from Drain the Blood, which is probably their biggest single.
Well, I mean, as far as the tattoos go, it's not the worst. It's just a weird placement. It's like it's right on the elbow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That was not a fun tattoo to get.
I like the blood splatter effect.
Yeah.
But why would you want "All my friends are murderers" tattooed on your arm? It's not a lyric that makes sense.
If you're into punk rock to be edgy.
I guess
So probably a NoFX fan.
I want to
know what the one above it says. It looks like it says Goo Goo Dolls.
I really hope it does. Thinking about it, the Distillers are a band that I do feel like the entry-level punk loves.
Absolutely.
It's like they're
There's
the
a reason that I
ones.
listened to them when I was 14.
Yeah, they're the ones that like late '90s kids or got into. Only late '90s kids will remember this entry-level punk band.
This is the real punk. Like, this is the step you take from Blink-182
to true punks.
into true punks. Yeah.
You are describing my trajectory very accurately.
But that being said, the Distillers are probably a little bit more legitimate than your average true punks.
It's like this and like leftover crack.
I don't want you to be right, but you're right. All right, tattoo number 2. I don't remember what this one is. Oh, no, I do.
Oh boy. What do you...
The tattoo has a tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a cartoonized version of Brody in a what was this style? I remember seeing this kind of artwork a lot in like Hot Topic culture. It's the woman
It's not anime.
No, it's like missing a nose, tons of like eyeshadow, huge cartoony lips. Like I feel like a lot of Hot Topic style, bands would have had this on their first EP.
It's very exaggerated. It's very cartoony.
It's somewhere between like early American comic strip, like Betty Boop type illustration, and like kids who learned how to draw from how to draw anime and manga books.
I've got one more. This one's just gross. I don't know what's happening. Maybe you guys can help me.
She's bloody. It's a huge piece too.
So she's got wow, there's so many elements in this tattoo. This is absurd.
What?
Like it's a portrait.
Uh-huh.
She's singing.
Uh-huh.
The face almost looks like Jane Doe.
Yeah, there is a Jane Doe quality.
It's like outlined in like a green splatter, like watercolor kind of colors. There's a crow, raven flying under her face.
Mm-hmm.
She's singing, and the microphone is going into a bottle, and the cord of the microphone is attached to a fetus. And she's got like blood running down her face, down the microphone, into the bottle.
It's gross.
That's intense.
What is it? Like, I just don't understand what it means.
I don't know. You're not going to get an explanation.
It's actually the upper half of the tattoo is a good tattoo. It's that bottle with the fetus in it that ruins it. Ugh.
That's what I've got.
Wow.
I do have covers.
Yeah.
So I had to change my criteria. Usually when I come on, I do base covers and tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
I could not find base covers of anything from this era.
Mm-hmm.
So I've just had to expand it to just covers in general. This is cover 1.
Dylan won't be able to hear these.
Oh, Dylan. Dylan can listen to them later.
So is this person even playing?
Ooh, BC Rich.
This is him, playing a BC Rich in his pajamas.
In the dark.
Why did he set his camera up at this angle?
Behind his
So you
computer.
can see his sweet Dell.
He's got his PC tower. His PC tower is obscuring almost a full half of the video.
Because I can't listen, I just kind of like skimmed through it to see if there were any other interesting visual elements, and it ends on a nice little Windows Movie Maker like screen wipe of "fuck you."
Oh, and this is from The Blah Man Free, which is a really good screen name.
So, to be honest, the backing track is so loud, I don't know if he is actually playing this song. This just sounds like the song.
You can hear like some faint pick scraping if you listen really closely. But yeah, it's totally overpowering.
It's the exact opposite of what these type of play along with the song covers are supposed to be.
Yeah. All right, that was great, Blah Man. This one is my favorite. Dylan, I really wish you could hear this. You're going to like the visuals. So this is YouTube user Cameron Voss covering LA Girl on the 4th of July, 2014, celebrating America. And he says, cover song by the Distillers off their first album. Good stuff, but can't do the scream part with an acoustic in an apartment complex. Sad face. It has one comment.
Not with that attitude.
It has one comment from himself that says, my song from yesterday, LOL. How would you describe the effects on this video? I'm going to press play now and listen along as we talk.
Well, it's like an infrared
Yeah.
filter.
I'm trying to figure out who he sounds like.
It's the Predator vision.
It is 100% Predator vision.
I mean, he said that he can't scream in an apartment complex, but he's doing this in an apartment complex. This is surely disrupting his neighbors.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely singing loudly.
Yeah, he's not keeping it down.
He sounds like someone, and I can't think of who it is.
He sounds like Vic Chestnut to me.
No way. No way. I'm thinking of... I cannot figure out who he sounds like.
Maybe he just looks like Vic Chestnut.
Man, I don't know. Man, there is someone who's coming to mind, and I cannot... It's on the tip of my tongue, and I cannot think of who it is.
I mean, it's a bizarre cover. He's not doing like a folk punk version of it.
No, it's more like just a straight up acoustic version.
But like he's trying to put some country twang on it.
Yeah.
It looks like he's also reading the lyrics off of the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And he keeps the infrared effect on the entire time.
Yeah, it's a bold choice.
I'd like to know what he looks like without infrared camera. Alright, my third video. And final video. This is why I asked you to watch the City of Angels video.
Yeah.
Just so you would familiarize yourself with the original song. This is unfortunately not from the EP that we're talking about today. This is from their second and in my opinion, best album, Sing Sing Death House. City of Angels, great video. This is not a cover band, a band that does a fair amount of covers on their YouTube channel. This is a video that I came across a few years ago. I mean, I might have even sent this to you at one point, because at one point in my life I was sending this to everyone I knew, whether they knew who the Distillers were or not, because I just loved it so much. This is a band called Mirage 13. They're from London, Ontario, just 2 short hours away from me. And just wait until the vocals kick in. They're really something special.
It's like someone doing a Brody Dale impression.
But like they have earplugs in or something.
It's like
a lot of water in their ears.
Wait, there's 2 singers.
Yeah.
And they sound the same. Are they sisters?
I think they might be. So this is from 2016. When I was poking around last night, I discovered that they just played in Niagara Falls 2 weeks ago. So they're still very much an active band. They have a lot of covers on their YouTube channel.
They're going all out with like the effects on this video for just a cover thing video.
And and so many different camera angles. Like they put a lot of time and effort into this. And they're not playing it live either. They've recorded this.
Yeah. The drummer looks a little bit like a professional wrestler called Braun Strowman. Just a much smaller version.
Dylan, you gotta promise me you're gonna listen to this later.
Okay.
Cat's back.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Alright, that's all I've got for today. I restrained myself. I practiced restraint.
I'll have much less editing to do this week.
Yeah.
The last time you were on, there were 5 covers on that one. That was so obnoxious to edit.
I'm sorry.
You're an obnoxious guest.
Just keep inviting me.
We keep doing it to ourselves.
Yeah, you know what I'm bringing to the table at this point. It's your fault. Next time I am bringing a little sassy with me.
Oh no. What should we rate this EP?
I'm going to give it a 3.9. It's a good starting effort from a band that got really good.
Keep breaking our scale. I'm gonna give
I'll give it a 2.67.
Wow.
Number which I have arrived at through my meticulous 70-point rubric.
Listen, I have rules.
I'm gonna give it a 3.0. I don't know why I'm giving it a 3.0. I did enjoy a majority of it. Yeah, but that's where I'm at. I think if it was the full-length album, I'd probably give it a higher score, but...
Next time we'll talk about the full length and we'll do more covers.
Yeah.
I was going to give it a real number, but I'll just stick with my 2.67.
Was your real number going to be lower or higher than the 2.67?
It was. I was probably going to go to the quarter point. Yeah, I was going to say 2.75.
Okay.
It's just not essential.
Yeah.
It does have a 2.90 on Rate Your Music with only 10 ratings. So it's the lowest rated and least reviewed release on their Rate Your Music page.
But it only had 500 copies pressed, and they never repressed it.
And they re-recorded it for the full length, so it's not essential listening.
Nope.
Though weirdly, the self-titled only has a 3.12, so it's not that highly regarded, but it's not considered bad though either. So
Did we win?
No.
I won. I finally got to talk about stuff I liked.
Yeah.
Instead of all that trash we've had you on the show. Hey, you chose to do that, no effects.
I don't think he did.
No, I don't think I did.
I'm pretty sure I said that's the one. Oh, no. We needed a guest, and that was...
And I think I just sent you so many tweets and videos about Coky the Clown that you just decided to have me on.
Yeah, that's true.
It's that algorithm. Just messes me up.
All right, so next week we are talking the year 1983, and we got number 49 on the album charts, and it is 45 Grave and their album Sleep in Safety. And our EP for that episode is number 17 on the charts, and it is The Birthday Party with their self-titled EP, The Birthday Party. So a little bit of death rock and Nick Cave.
Yeah.
That's going to be an interesting episode. Continue to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We're at punklautopod. We have an email address. It's punklautopod@gmail.com. And our website is punklautopod.simplecast.fm. Cory, thanks a lot for doing the show again. I know we keep throwing you in like last second and not giving you much lead time going in, but...
No, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks again for having me.
We really like having you on, so... Yeah,
I don't know if Dylan does.
Bring a little sassy next time.
No. You need to watch the Little Sassy before you say that.
I'm not convinced that it isn't just Cory doing a voice.
I'm going to send a little sassy, but not appear on the app, so you guys just have to talk to her.
No.
I'm going to cancel right before.
As long as she listens to the albums.
She was down.
Come prepared.
Bye, guys.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.